Welcome back to the Did We Stutter Show, aka the Marianne and Rachel Show. This is episode 6. Episode 6. One day we're gonna run out of sync fingers. Maybe by January we'll have to add my fingers in.
At our elbows.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't work either.
No, just makes us look weird. But while we're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And this episode is what I've been waiting for. It's what gave the idea for this show. It's Marianne telling me what romance novel that she's been reading. She's read over 200. I think it's more than 220 at this point. Is that correct?
Over 250.
Over 250. Oh man, it's jumped by 30 in a month. Here I am. Oh, I read one book this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Marianne's I have no idea what the topic is. It's a romance novel. I really hope it's entertaining. I'm excited to learn about the plot and the characters. So I'm turning it over to Marianne.
Thanks, Rachel. So our book that I'm going to show the cover, lighting. This is our special effects. The Spanish Love Deception. Look at this cute cover.
I like the suit or tuxedo on the gentleman.
I know. This is
one
so
of his pants legs up, or is that the lighting?
I think he's cross-legged, checking her out.
Okay.
And that's her, Lena. The author is Elena Armas. I'm really bad with my A's in Spanish, so apologies, Elena. I'm going to tag you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, Elena.
Like and subscribe. So this is a 2021 Goodreads the best debut novel from a new author. So fancy. This, I didn't know how much of a romantic I was until this last year.
I knew.
Rachel's like, what are you
know for years.
I was like, oh, I like The Bachelor. It's cool.
Wait, she didn't just like The Bachelor. Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Interrupt for 1 second.
She would have a feast on the last day of the episode of the show or last episode of the season. And then once she brought roses, and I'm like, where are we? I knew you liked the show, but once you brought the roses, I realized how much you actually liked it. That's my interruption.
I know, and now I don't watch anymore. I don't have time. Anymore.
It's still on. How many seasons? I wonder. Do you know?
Oh, it's a lot.
A lot.
Like 20. Like 20? More than 20.
Oh man.
But back to Spanish Love Deception. So I just entered the romance sphere this year, and I love it. This is like my coworkers. It's like candy. It's just reading and just eating it up. And my husband makes fun of me. He's like, romance. And he's the most least romantic person. He's wonderful, but he's not like that. And I was wondering, why do I like this so much? And I've learned there's all these different tropes. So this is my favorite trope. It's enemies to lovers, which is really exciting, but it's also an office romance, fake dating, some sports. He's an ex-football player, the guy.
Football, American football or soccer?
Football American.
Okay.
Thank you for asking, because there's some really good sports romances out there. It's the grump and sunshine trope, like a grumpy main dude and a happy-go-lucky girl. But I think also the other trope is unrequited love. So I'll dive into how this book starts. First of all, I read it in the beginning of the year, and then I read The Hating Game, which is a very popular enemies to lovers book, and it's becoming a movie.
Okay.
And then I read this again, and I like this one better. But I love how it starts. So basically we have Lena, and she is from Spain, and she works at an engineering consulting firm. First, I love when the main girl has a real job. It just makes me.
Oh, wait, what's a real job versus a not real job?
Sometimes they're artists. Sometimes, that's a job too.
Follow their heart jobs.
Yes, a follow their heart job. And I think that's great, but it's great to hear about just something I relate to. She works in a company, and she's not just a secretary, which is very popular too. Nothing wrong with these jobs. It's just overdone. You're an artist, you're a secretary, you own a bakery, you own
I want to own a bakery.
Cute. I do want to own a bakery. That's not anyway. But I like when it's a different job. Like, we
Yeah.
don't talk about engineering consulting. And she needs a date to her sister's wedding in Spain. She's from Spain, already works in a male-dominated industry.
Mhm.
And her sister is marrying her ex's brother. So she's the maid of honor, Lena, and her ex is the what's it called?
The best
groom.
man?
Best man.
Best groom.
Best groom, best man. Sorry. Too excited. I'm too excited. And so she needs a date to the wedding because she had an awful breakup with him. He was like her professor, and then they started dating. I know.
Layers.
There's lots of layers. And I really love how Elena put all these layers together and all these moments in a very cohesive story that made sense. Like, it was so tight and detailed, and she didn't miss a beat with the pacing too. So yeah, I wanted to mention her ex used to be her professor. They dated after that situation. Like, they weren't dating when she was a student. And then I guess like people found out and they were like shaming her, calling her a whore. So that's why she moved to the US. Like, she graduated, got done, moved to the US. So how it starts off is, I'll be your date to the wedding. And that's the guy, and his name's Aaron. And oh my God, got a little obsessed with him. And I have to say, in these romance novels, these people don't exist. Like, if you know someone like Aaron, can you talk to me? Like, I like a 5-minute conversation about how that's possible, because this is not, it's not real. It's fun to read and escape to, but I would love to get to know an Aaron like this. But I just love how it starts, and she's talking to her friend, and then Aaron is right behind her, and she's like, can you get him away? Like, they hate each other. They did not start off on a good foot the first day of work. They've always like dislike, and they have really great banter. But I love how she talks to her friend, like, can you tell Aaron this? And then her friend Rosie's like, Aaron, Lena says this. And I just like how it dives right into that conversation. I can't talk today. And sets the tone. And it just keeps getting faster and faster. And eventually she does agree for him to come to the wedding with her. It took a lot of convincing on her end, but it was just super fun. And it also brings that culture part, because she's from Spain, and throughout all this, he's showing moments of being in love with her. Like, what else?
And he's not faking it.
He's not faking it, but
okay.
She thinks he is.
Oh, and it's kind of like the proposal.
Yes, it's exactly like the proposal. It's exactly like the proposal. And it's so fun to explore that tension, and how we know that he likes her, but she's like, huh? No, he hates me. And she's really fun too. She's funny. She did a pop culture reference to Twilight and Hunger Games.
Marianne
she's
gave
really
her points.
fun. Yeah, I give her points. She has a job. She works hard. But there's just so many more moments where he comes to help her with a project, and he's like starts cleaning her desk, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, what are you doing? He goes, you're unfocused. I'm organizing your desk. And I'm like, what?
Did he put stuff in the right places?
He did.
He gets lots of points.
And I listed all his moments. Another one, he printed the notes for her, and she's like, why'd you print it? Why don't you email me? And he's like, oh, you always highlight everything. And you're like, oh, what? Yes,
the person does not exist.
Yeah, this person does not exist. And then one time she was hungry, he provided his handmade granola bars.
He makes granola?
Yeah, he makes granola.
He does not exist.
This does not exist.
I want some granola now, though.
I know, so funny. In the rain, and it was raining, and she was going to I think this is in New York. She's taking public transportation. He offers a ride to her. What was the other one? Oh yeah, he loves dogs. Who doesn't? Like, come on. like
I
rescue
actually don't like dogs
dogs.
that much. That one I'm not as impressed by. Gotta confess. They poop a
I
lot, and
know.
you have to take them to the vet.
That's true. It's extra.
Extra.
He had her phone number, but she didn't. And she's like, how do you have my phone? Oh, it's in our directory. And she's like, I never meant to save it. Like, she really did not like him. And the reason why she didn't like him is she's a really bubbly, welcoming kind of gal. And she gave him like a welcome gift. And he like took it like, who are you? What do you want from me? And thought she was unprofessional.
Oh.
And then he learned that that's kind of just her personality, like she is welcoming. So I thought that was an interesting, like, why the hate began. And you find out later in the story. But the most important thing, like, he got her dinner and he's like, how many tacos do you want? And she goes, how do you know? I know. He goes, how do you know this? She goes, how do you know this is my favorite taco place? And he's like, oh, you talk about it all the time. So he's like implicitly listening and knows so much. And like, so in the end, she asks, oh, I would like 3. Oh, maybe 4. And then he gets her 5
Right.
tacos.
I was thinking she needs 5 tacos.
You got right. It's just,
I want 5 tacos.
I just love these little moments. And I was thinking about why I like these, because I can tell you, Rachel, the whole story, but why is this so exciting to me? And I really think actions speak louder than words. And when you act on something in a friendship or any relation, and you're kind of mind reading them, I think that means so much more to someone. And that's why I love reading Enemies to Lovers, because they're just giving you those clues of, I love you.
Yeah.
Without trying so hard. I hate when people try so hard.
Yeah.
Go for it.
With actions, you have to go out of your way a bit, because with the printing stuff, I mean, he has to stop what he's doing at his own job, find her notes wherever they are, print them out, staple them, and then walk them to her office. I'm sure he wanted to drop them off in person too, but you have to do all those things, take time, and you have to stop thinking about your own busy life to do them.
Exactly. He put the effort, he put the priority in. Like, that is so admirable, and that person does not exist. But
I think he sounds like he's on it all the time. If that person does exist, they're on it maybe 80 to 75% of the time. It's just life is hard.
That's just life is hard.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite so what I love is when they finally get to Spain and she meets the family, and I love the cultural nuances. Like, she says, like, everyone's trying to make sure that they have a room. They're like borrowing people's apartments, and she called it like the bedroom Hunger Games.
Oh man.
Because everyone's trying to be so accommodating and helpful. And I love, like, when they see them together being fake, her whole family is so happy for her. Like, we've never seen you so happy. You guys are such a good looking couple. And she's like, oh, it's fake. Like,
and he's like, woohoo. Love your family.
Yeah. So he also learned Spanish for her and talks to them in Spanish. Yeah, before the trip.
Is he a genius too?
I know. Yeah, he has no flaws, except he just never told her out front that I like you. It was all through his actions. But what I love is, so they stay in Spain for like 3 days, and that's where the tension's really heightened. Like, they did like a joint bachelorette party, and they got this wedding cup, and they're playing soccer. And of course, we have kind of this, like, I think of the Twilight baseball movie scene of, like, the guy takes off his shirt, winks at her, and like picks her up and carries her. It's like, it's just really cute. But everyone's asking, how'd you meet? Where did it come? Like, how did this all work? And she's like, oh my God, like, how did we meet? So she starts off with like, oh, he seemed like he needed a friend, and he seemed really nervous, and I gave him this gift, and then we actually started hating each other. And then he adds on and goes about like the real story of how he fell in love with her. Like, he's like, I wanted that smile for myself. I saw that she was such a great person. And I was like, I actually reread those scenes a lot, because I think it's just really sweet. And it's so funny. I think this is a great quote for the book. It's like, like she asks like why, and he like, why did you let me be so mean to you? And he's like, because it was all you were willing to give me, and I'd rather have you hating me than not have you at all.
Interesting.
Who
Sorry.
says that?
Hallmark
Anyway,
movie.
Hallmark movie. So I'm trying to think what else, because it's such a good pace. It's a fun, quick read, and it does end. So of course, the night of the wedding, they get together, and it's a spicy love scene, and like it's like yes. But at the end, it's a quick conflict, because usually these romance novels, there's something dramatic happens, and then we all get together, and it's happily ever after. For this one, they share a coworker who's just an a-hole, like calling her honey, like, oh, you got that job because you're really good at planning because you're a woman, like stuff like that. They hint to that, and I guess the guy Gerald finds out that they're dating and starts to make fun of her, and she's getting flashbacks from her previous ex. So she breaks it off with Aaron, and you're like, no, what? Like, don't do it. But then she realized she loves him, and then she's like, where is he? And he's off actually helping his father who has cancer. So she flies to Seattle, where he's from, and is there for him, and that is the end.
That is,
and they get it's just, I like when it ends like that, because sometimes it gets too cheesy.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, let's get married. Like, yeah, that's nice. Depends on the story, but I like how it wasn't your typical we're engaged.
Yeah, it did have a quick wrap up, like a lot of Hallmark movies, where I'm like, where's the conflict? We have an hour, 15 minutes left. What's gonna happen? And they wrap it up too with a good bow and resolve the conflict in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, like this was a good like end, because there can be some surprising or not, Rachel, there's some cheesy endings in romance books. Did you know?
Yeah.
But I just really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed reading it the second time. Like I was laughing out loud, being a nerd, and and now I knew it won all these awards, and she's writing another book about her best friend in the book.
Okay.
Which is really cool. But yeah, I thought it was a good start, because it highlights a lot of different tropes, which makes it more interesting, because it's so easy, like, oh, it's an office romance. The CEO billionaire falls for the secretary. Like, those are fun, but like, been there. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
And I've read most of them.
Well, you get points for rereading this one for the episode.
Oh, it was a quick. Oh, my pleasure.
My pleasure with this Chick-fil-A. Also chicken nuggets.
I know, my pleasure. But and please know, I read all types of, like, the trash to the dark. I'll have to do a dark one.
I like the dark ones. Gotta say, I like the dark ones. The Mafia ones, preferably. I like the descriptions. I haven't read one yet. I'm not sure. I haven't sure if I'm going to cross the road to read a Mafia romance.
It's not for everyone. Like I made my mom, this sounds so bad, I made my mom try Mafia Romance, because I found one that was kind of tasteful. Like, oh,
tasteful.
I know, tasteful romance.
Too funny.
And it did not go well. She goes, Marianne, no, I don't like it. It's very violent.
I think that's probably what I would say. You can confirm or deny.
Yeah. So yeah, no violence in this one, 2 spicy scenes, but just really great banter if you like that type of thing. I highly recommend this book. I saw it as a movie.
And I think it will be one.
I would love for it to be. I would be all about that. I would be all about that. Okay, find a blue-eyed, black hair, ex-football player actor. Sign me up. I'll watch.
Cool beans. Well, thanks for sharing. I look forward to the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let Marianne know what your favorite romance novel is.
Yeah, and what do you want to hear about?
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.